You keep waiting for motivation, don't you? That spark, that feeling, that sudden burst of energy that will finally push you to start. You wait for the perfect day, the perfect mood, the perfect version of yourself, but deep down, you already know the truth. You're waiting for something that isn't coming, because motivation is a myth. We grow up believing motivation is the fuel of action, that successful people wake up every morning feeling ready, excited, unstoppable. But psychology tells a different story. Motivation is not a cause, it's a result. It doesn't come first, it comes last. You don't take action because you're motivated, you become motivated because you took action. This is the great misunderstanding that keeps millions stuck in the same cycle. You wait to feel ready, and in that waiting, you lose your life. The human brain is lazy by design, not because you're weak, but because your brain was built to conserve energy. Anything unfamiliar triggers resistance, anything difficult triggers fear, anything uncertain triggers avoidance. Your brain cares about one thing: survival. Not success, not growth, not greatness. So when you say, "I'll start when I feel motivated," what you're really saying is, "I'll start when my brain magically stops doing what it's programmed to do." It never will. Successful people aren't superhumans. They're not more gifted or more disciplined by birth. They simply understand one psychological truth. Action creates motivation. Momentum creates motivation. Consistency creates motivation. Not the other way around. They don't rely on feelings. They rely on systems, they rely on structure, they rely on identity. They don't wake up motivated, they wake up committed. Motivation is emotional, it's unstable, it rises, it crashes, it disappears without warning. It's like trying to build your life on weather patterns. One day sunny, one day storm, one day nothing. You can't build a new life on temporary feelings. You must build it on psychology. I've had a lot of messages recently from mostly students asking about how to motivate themselves, especially during exam season. The quandary goes along the lines of, I know I should be studying, but most days, I just can't seem to find the motivation. How are you so motivated to get XYZ done? I used to have problems with motivation. I don't anymore, because I've fully internalized the notion that motivation is a myth. In fact, I think we'd all be much happier and get much more done if we scrub the word motivation from our vocabulary altogether. Here's a quote from one of my favorite articles on the subject. Motivation, broadly speaking, operates on the erroneous assumption that a particular mental or emotional state is necessary to complete a task. Put simply, motivation is waiting until you feel like doing something before doing it. Discipline, on the other hand, is doing it regardless of how you're feeling about it. Here's another fun quote. At its core, chasing motivation is insistence on the infantile fantasy that we should only be doing things we feel like doing. The problem is then framed thus. How do I get myself to feel like doing what I have rationally decided to do? Bad. The proper question is, how do I make my feelings inconsequential and do the things I consciously want to do without being a little bitch about it? I return to this article several times a year to remind myself of its paradigm-shifting lesson. I'm working on a video where I dissect this concept of motivation in depth and offer some practical suggestions about how to cultivate this thing called discipline that lets you accomplish pretty much whatever you want. In the meantime, however, if you're finding yourself lacking in motivation, please A. read the article, and B. attempt to remove the word motivation from your vocabulary entirely. These days, the only circumstance in which I let myself even think about motivation as a concept is if a friend is complaining, I just don't have the motivation to work right now. If I don't know them very well, I reply, yeah, me too, LOL. Oh bye. If, however, I know the person well, I give them an unsolicited lecture about exactly why motivation is a myth, and how they should be cultivating discipline. If they're still in the room by the end of this conversation, they usually think, wow, you're right, I shouldn't be trying to feel like doing stuff, I should just do it. Here are the tools your brain actually responds to. First, identity, then action. You don't change your life by changing your habits. You change it by changing who you believe you are. Don't say, I want to write. Instead, say, I am a writer. Don't say, I want to work out. Say, I am the kind of person who trains. Identity shapes behavior. And behavior, well, it shapes destiny. Lower the starting line. If the starting line is too high, you'll never begin. Don't aim for perfection, aim for presence. Read 1 page, do 5 push-ups, work for 3 minutes. Your brain loves small wins. Small wins create momentum. Momentum becomes motivation. Ritual over emotion. Rituals are actions that happen whether you feel like it or not. They remove decision-making. They remove emotional resistance. They turn your goals into something automatic. Success is not emotional. It's procedural. Make the environment do the work. Your environment is stronger than your willpower. Leave the book on the pillow. Put the gym clothes by the door. Hide your distractions. Organize your tools. Good environments pull you forward. Bad environments pull you back. Embrace the first 10 hard minutes. The hardest part is always the beginning. Once you start, your brain adapts. Your resistance drops. Your focus activates. Give yourself just 10 minutes. 10 minutes can change your entire day. 10 minutes can change your life. Your life will not change because you felt inspired one night. It will change because you acted on a day you didn't feel like it. Motivation is a spark. Action is the fire. Stop waiting for the spark. Build the fire. This time a few years ago, while slogging through the final chapter of my dissertation, I had lunch with a friend. At one point, I lamented to him, if I could just find the motivation to get through the last few paragraphs, I'd be done with this thing, once and for all. He responded with, "Why wait? You should just embrace the pain and get it done. It'd be worth it." At the time, I stared back at him with confusion, and frankly, more than a little annoyance. However, in the years since that conversation, I've recalled his words often and reflected upon the realization that my friend was absolutely right. There is a prevailing notion in our culture that we cannot do something unless we feel motivated to do it. However, in his book, Beat the Blues Before They Beat You, Dr. Robert Leahy points out that we do plenty of things each day that we don't want to do. We go to class or work when we're not feeling well, we put up with behavior we don't like from other people, and we do our dishes. According to Dr. Leahy, we don't need to feel motivated, comfortable, or ready to do something in order to do it. We need to be willing to tolerate the discomfort of doing it. He calls this notion constructive discomfort, the perspective that discomfort, rather than being too much for us, is an inevitable part of any life worth living. It's a temporary inconvenience, a challenge that can leave us feeling empowered that we have overcome obstacles. Most importantly, Dr. Leahy also points out that rather than causing behavior, motivation is created by behavior. Anyone who has ever said some version of, "I didn't feel like going to the gym, but once I got there I was so glad I went," should be able to relate to this idea. Essentially, action creates motivation. Here are a few other tips and ideas that I hope will help you in accomplishing tasks you may not feel motivated to do right now. Examine the long-term and short-term costs and benefits of continuing to avoid or actually doing what you've been putting off. Think of your goals and values, and then consider how they relate to your uncompleted tasks. Ask yourself when you tend to work most effectively, e.g., are you a morning person, and plan to complete tasks then. When you catch yourself avoiding a task, ask yourself what you are thinking and feeling about it, e.g., I've got plenty of time. Assess the accuracy of those thoughts, and, if needed, challenge them, e.g., although I have a lot of time to work on this, I'll feel a lot better once it's done. Set up your environment in ways that maximize the likelihood you'll get your work done and minimize potential distractions, e.g., study where you find it easier to focus, leave your phone in your car, etc. Almondine Wandao. Worst first approach. Get the hardest and most unpleasant part of your task out of the way immediately. Bits and pieces approach. Do anything related to the task you want to accomplish, starting with something easy and gradually doing more until the task doesn't seem so impossible. Sit down and work on something for just 5 minutes, and at the end of those 5 minutes, move on to something else or set yourself another 5 minutes on your original task. Most likely, you'll already be invested enough by that point to keep going. Break overwhelming tasks down into smaller, more manageable chunks and schedule those, focusing on completing just one piece at a time. Say to yourself, in the present tense, that you are doing the thing that you would like to accomplish, e.g., I'm writing my essay right now. This may sound silly, but if you try it, you will discover that it directs your energy and focus toward the activity you have been avoiding. Use pleasurable activities, e.g., watching Netflix, to reward yourself when you've done your work, rather than using those activities as a way to avoid that work. You don't need motivation. You need courage. You need movement. You need momentum. Even the smallest step is a rebellion against the old you, and every day you show up, you prove to your brain that you are stronger than your excuses, stronger than your fears, stronger than your comfort zone. You don't need motivation to change your life, you only need to begin. This is Mind Scripted, where your mind rewrites your reality.